Hello, loves. This is Lynn, Dream Girl Writer, coming to you with a message about the art and practice of true love. Hmm, good subject, eh? I'm currently writing a book on this, and it will be a combination of my journal experiences or my experiences in life that I have journaled, as well as dreams and poetry. But it all comes about because I rose in love about 13 years ago with a beautiful man and have stayed in love with him since then, despite some very conflicted circumstances and some harsh words between us, and the fact that we have been mostly apart in that time. The beauty, the gift that I have received out of that conflict and uh, that experience, this deep, moving experience of first rising in love, first being in so attuned with another human being that I never had an experience like that before or since. So that's one thing that has kept me aligned with the idea of staying in love and being in love, and that there is an art and a practice to true love. But the other thing is that with just a brief period of time when we were aligned and when we did commune in full affinity, as it were, was enough to carry me through. It will carry me through the rest of this life, I'm sure. Because what I learned from loving him and being unable to talk myself out of it in any way, shape, or form, despite many long nights of crying myself to sleep and desperate feelings of loneliness over the years, I found that that love sustained me. And I found that the art of true love is actually to take that all the way back. Take your love for another, your precious, yearning uh, desire to have another human being, to be intimate with another human being, to take that all the way back to your self intimacy, to the love that is there waiting for us to recognize for ourselves. And that is the love that comes from our divine origins, from the collective God conscious, however you want to think of it. That is true love, the essence of love, pure love. And when we have love for another, regardless of what they do or fail to do, we can practice our devotion to love with or without them. And because in my case, this love had sparked such an awareness in me of his awareness of me, as well as my awareness of all of him, it was like that door was opened and it was never going to be closed. So, regardless of what he said or did, or I said and did, or what society's constructs are about how a couple behaves when they're in love, all of that kind of flew out the window over the years, one by one. Of course, I'd like to say that I came to it all at once, but it was a whole different course for me. But maybe that's why I took it to such an art. It's almost like I always remember when I fail at something, the quote by Thomas Edison, supposed quote by Thomas Edison, could be a misquote, but he said that he found 1,000 ways not to invent a light bulb before he actually found a way to invent it. So that's how I kind of feel about failures. And, I'm in my seventh decade of life, so I have plenty of failures. I have a fair amount of successes as well. And both of them came about through magic and miracles. But when I think back and am having to forgive myself for my failings or my foibles, I remember that so many inventive and creative people and geniuses of our world had to suffer through either debilitating life conditions or maybe physical conditions, or just suffer at the hands of their own, mental judgment of themselves. And that's what it means to be human. And to bring us back to my subject matter here, to be in love as a human involves all of that as well. But true love, real love, always stays with you. So we can fall in love with someone and then out of love with someone because we find that we're incompatible, or there's too much conflict, and too little love. And that's understandable. It happens all the time. But when I met my true love, I knew it immediately. And the events that happened after that, it was only a short period of time where we stayed in love together. But after me being on my own, apart from him, and having to reconcile my yearning for wanting to be reunited with him, I had to go all the way, through what was between us as a couple, all the way back to what was inside of me that colored or judged myself for failing or succeeding at, staying in love with him or keeping him by my side. And I really, again, it may sound like I'm speaking glibly about this or taking it lightly or being a Pollyanna or trying to cheer you up about love, but I can tell you it has been a long, long haul. And I have passed many nights of abject despair. And yet, that little spark of true love that is within us all, if we allow ourselves to see it, if we clear away the shadows and the debris that are always hiding it in this modern world of ours, if we really get in touch with that, it's the eternal flame inside all of us. True love is an eternal flame. True love is the reason we exist. Love is all there is. Thank you very much. Paul, John, George, and Ringo. And so the art and practice of true love, to get back to the point, is to stay in love with me, with you first. And then if another agrees with us on our concept of love, if another feels like they have that kind of matching affinity where as humans we can create a life in love together, then we have the perfect space for that. We are holding that space. That's when it becomes an art. So practicing it, of course, we practice it in our relationships every day. Some of them are trying, some of them are wonderful and fulfilling, but we're getting to and from love every day in different ways. That's the practice of it, and that is wonderful because practice makes perfect, right? Even imperfect is perfect in terms of a couple that's been together for a long, long time and they still know where they need their own space or their own sovereignty, but they've made it work. They've merged lives together. They've merged those differences to become more important, for love to become more important than the differences. But the art of true love is knowing that once you love yourself, people can come and go and they're just icing on the cake. Once you love yourself, it's almost like you have faced death to a certain extent. And, I'm no prophet or no sage. I have wisdom from my experiences because I look in the mirror and tell the truth to myself and clear the shadows. But it's just an experiential truth of staying in love, working hard on your relationships or on yourself to be loving and kind, even if you're alone. That is an experiential form of love, and that is the practice of love. But the art of it comes from the knowing, just the knowing. Once you get to that place where you know that you are love, you are born of love, you will return to love, love is all there is. That's an art. This is what I wish for you, and thank you for listening.